In a real-world sense, no one would desire to be in the midst of a home invasion situation. I've personally not experienced an episode like that, but I can imagine perhaps there's people listening, perhaps you, who have endured such a troublesome event, and I'm sure it was nothing but sheer panic and terror for you. But if you're a horror and thriller cinema fan, this might be a go-to pick for you. I certainly have seen a pretty exorbitant library, even maybe films I haven't seen that I'm generally aware of within the home invasion line, some of which may be smaller films and maybe more unusual in style, but quite crafty. I'm thinking specifically, let's say in smaller film fare, Home Invasion, quite on the nose name, that was great. Or there's other films that have tried different mechanisms to present their home invasion visions. Let's say, for example, Radar. I can't rave on that film enough. It's different, and I won't give much away. I've been recommending it for years. You will love it when you watch it. It's such a competent home invasion movie if you're really interested in seeing more along those lines. Evil at the Door, from my understanding, is maybe a lesser-known movie. It's got a pretty accessible distribution, though. If you do want to watch this movie, we'll take a better look at it in a second from a trailer perspective. It is available both on Tubi, the Tubi website. They offer movies, if you're not familiar, for free, unlike other streaming services, so there's that catch for you if you want. If you're tired of paying for other streaming services, you're like, well, my wallet would appreciate a break. Tubi has a wide variety of work. Some projects good, maybe others not. It's a general good population on their films of quite a variety and in genres as well. But they have this movie available for you to watch there, as well as on a selection of YouTube channels, including, for example, the Joe Blow Horror Movies channel. They're carrying this movie on the YouTube platform if you want to watch it that way. It sounds pretty interesting. From my understanding, it is a smaller movie from some developing talent. I did take a look into the filmography of the, in this case, director, writer, and one of the actors in this movie, Kip Tribble, who's also, I'm looking at his channel in regards to the trailers that he put up for his movie, and I couldn't find anything. This is very much a fresh introduction for me to his talents. And I'm not sure maybe if he's like an up-and-coming talent as much. I mean, again, like I said, I looked through, none of the projects rung a bell. I mean, he's been doing some work for some time, maybe some smaller movies, I'm not exactly sure, but Evil at the Door, this will be a first introduction to his work. And it sounds pretty straightforward as a home invasion thriller. I mean, the poster's certainly crafty. I like the little slogan, "There's no place like home," except for tonight, because, again, realistically, nobody would want to be in this situation, but it makes for entertaining horror and thriller fare. This is the pitch, verbatim from IMDb. One night every year, the world sees an alarming surge in violent home invasions. This is no coincidence. So I'm wondering if maybe that's implying a larger conspiracy. I mean, you might have a lot of characters in this case that they're in different parts of the world, let's say, or the country, and speaking specifically of America, that, or it could happen in other countries as well, that you're in the midst of a home invasion. And what feels like a singular event to you, perhaps in the context of this movie, might be more expanded. It might be happening all across, a certain set of days. So perhaps there's a larger conspiracy occurring. I mean, I could see that. A stream of home invasions set up by one group, different areas, enough to sort of split off attention. We'll see where this film goes. It's a shorter movie, just short of 90 minutes, but maybe it'll be good. We'll see. I'm going to go ahead and pull up. I've got a selection of media here. We're going to start with the first glimpse teaser, and then I'll cut to the trailer after as well. But let's give this film a good, well-rounded perspective. But, I'm always looking for some advantageous thriller fare. That's a genre favorite of mine. And home invasion thrillers have delivered for me in the past, so I will at least consider the Evil at the Door, it's inviting on a pitch. Let's see what the film's quality is. The masks are kind of cool, too. I mean, they're a bit fresh from some of what I've seen in comparison to other releases. That's basically what we just read, but hey, I like the erratic editing. It's kind of interesting. I wonder if, because I think if the one night a year, I don't know how to interpret that. I'm not sure if the implication here is that we're going for a more realistic statistic. Like, if home invasions happen one night every year, if he means in the real world, or if it's in the context of the movie and it's more of an artistic vision of the story. Because I read that and I think, was The Purge of influence, right? One night every year, man, and I'm not a Purge fan by any means. I mean, I have my thresholds, and The Purge is certainly one that kind of crosses over for me. But one night every year, if you're not familiar with those movies, every crime is legalized for like 12 hours, because, humanity just needs to purge literally all their bad animalistic instincts, right? The emergency service is suspended. Yeah, it's definitely a horror ride. And The Purge has been done to death quite extensively in terms of its story. It's got a lot of reverence, though, from, I'm sure, horror fans across the board. Not me, but maybe that was of influence, at least in the one night every year, if that's not necessarily speaking of a realistic concept. Again, I'm not exactly sure how to interpret this, but the teaser was good, quite welcoming. Sets a good mood for a horror entry, especially when we perhaps have a lower budget feel, but well presented. I could see the indie movie flavor. This is the main trailer. Let's take a look at this. A bit longer.
Hey, I'm really, really glad that you're here.
Me too.
I don't think you will be. That feeling will subside in a short matter, I'm sure. Short matter of time.
You've got that twinkle in your eyes, like you've got something to hide.
Everything's going fine.
Good evening, and allow me to welcome each of you to the annual Night of the Locusts.
This is based on The Purge.
There will be 2 unruly
Spirit.
players in the target address. 1 male and 1 female.
At least I feel that way when you're just, for a limited time, one night.
Timekeeper, start your clock. You have 180 minutes, no more.
I think you're a liar.
For your selected level, there's no security system in place.
I can see you.
Protection shut
I
off.
trust that you remain physically and mentally ready. Always remember your oath and the laws that you have sworn to obey.
It's a good
Good
visual.
evening, fellow locusts, and God bless.
I like the positioning of that shot. Well, it's more like a game, I guess. So that's sort of the person behind everything, that he's managing the, what they call it, the locusts. I mean, again, for me, maybe, I don't know, I see a similarity in The Purge, at least on that element of, for a limited time, certain crimes are permitted, or in this case, it's more of like, I'd say, a relay race. You have 180 minutes or whatever, maybe to build prestige or gain access. There's obviously something that they're going for. It's well presented. I mean, again, it's a smaller movie, I can clearly tell. I'm sure of developing talent, or perhaps some actors you're familiar with. Again, I'm not exactly sure. Maybe you're somebody who's seen some of, to get his name right, Kip Tribble's work before. I haven't yet. So again, like I said, fresh glance in every measure. But it's a well-presented thriller. I like the confined aspect. It said the small house. Limited space. I mean, it kind of expands beyond that, at least in some shots, but it's mostly taking place within this house. Certain shots are very well positioned. I think the knife on the ground and how the camera focuses in on the girl kind of switches perspective. I liked that. Good visual cue choice. It looks enjoyable. I'll definitely consider giving it a try, and like I said, it's pretty widely accessible. You can watch it on Tubi or YouTube, however you'd like in those measures. Each platform is available to you. In fact, YouTube has a wide variety, as I said, of channels that are carrying this movie, so many people, I'm sure, will be able to find it. You shouldn't have that hard of a time. I like it. Again, I think it's got a great presentation, good color field as well, feels very ominous in spirit. The mask choices are kind of creative as well. I mean, they're sort of like skull faces, but they're slightly unique from other stuff that I've seen. They're actually really nice. They really pop on screen for me. Especially the one that's like in the main poster. You can kind of see it in that shot with the characters in the car. That really works. Good choice with the black and the white. It's a great design choice, or color or palette to go with, in my opinion. Really makes it adds a very ominous layer to the project, and one that already has that type of tense mood. It's a good meshing. What are your guys' thoughts of Evil at the Door? I'd love to hear down below if you feel so inclined to disclose your perspective, but I'm definitely engaged with it. I mean, again, like I said, it's a smaller release. I can clearly see that, but I don't mean to speak in any way ill on that level. But you can sometimes tell. And I do like to give a position on my channel in much regard as I can to developing talents and filmmakers that perhaps are earlier on in their work. And, I mean, at this point, Kip Tripple's got a couple projects as well, a good range, but this is a fresh introduction. It does appear to be a bit of a smaller release. I love to look at projects like this and to give recognition where I feel it's perhaps due, or the art itself appears quite competent. And Evil at the Door seems like a very good thriller. Definitely has that energy of it. I would say a well-positioned home invasion thriller from what you might be familiar with in formula, from some other releases you perhaps have seen, maybe some ones I didn't mention, maybe ones I haven't even seen yet. But the way that it's staged, certain evoking of feelings of other types of horror thriller releases. For example, like I said, The Purge. It could be to the love of many. We'll see over time, how those viewing figures stack up, especially in terms of view counts on YouTube as well. I think it looks great. I'll definitely humor a possibility that it's a good movie. And I'm definitely always engaged looking for thriller stuff. So it's a go-to genre for me, as I said. Evil at the Door certainly fits with my tastes. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.